Are you tired of feeling like your stomach has its own agenda? Like the bloating, gas, or constant trips to the bathroom are running your life? Welcome to the Beyond Bloated podcast, the podcast where we tackle those frustrating gut issues head on, without strict diets or giving up your favorite foods. I'm Carly, a certified gut health coach who's been there, struggling with bloating that made me look 6 months pregnant, gut pain that kept me from enjoying meals, and fatigue so draining it felt impossible to get through the day. Now, I help women like you find freedom from those symptoms and take back control of their lives. Each week, we'll debunk gut health myths, dive into simple, actionable tips, and hear stories from women who've been exactly where you are. It's time to feel confident, energized, and bloat-free. Let's get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Beyond Bloated podcast, or welcome for the very first time. If you've been struggling with acne, rosacea, or any other skin issue that just won't go away, no matter how much money you spend on all the top skincare brands, this episode is for you. I have talked before about how your gut impacts so many aspects of your health, your mood, your immune system, your metabolism. I could go on and on. But today, we are diving into one area that I have not covered too much yet: how your gut health is directly connected to your skin health. To help unpack this, I'm joined by Laura Grubb, a functional health practitioner who helps women finally get to the root of stubborn symptoms like bloating, fatigue, acne, and irregular periods. Before becoming a functional practitioner, Laura spent 7 years as a nurse practitioner. But after her own struggles with acne and realizing that creams and prescriptions were not enough, she discovered that true healing had to start from inside, especially with the gut. Now she specializes in supporting women who feel dismissed or told everything looks normal when they know something is not right. Using advanced functional testing like the GI map and HTMA, Laura uncovers hidden imbalances and creates personalized plans so her clients can feel like themselves again. I'm so excited for this conversation because we are diving into two areas that we have never really explored much on the show yet: the surprising connection between acne and gut health, and what HTMA testing can reveal about your minerals, hormones, and overall well-being. You are going to walk away with a whole new perspective on your skin, your energy, and your gut. So without further ado, let's give a big warm welcome to Laura Grubb. Thank you so much for joining us on the Beyond Bloated podcast today.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. And as always, I'd love to start off by learning a little bit about you, your journey. So could you share kind of what got you interested in your field?
So I am a nurse practitioner by trade, and I did that for around 7 years or so. What really got me into functional health was more so with my own acne. I was, doing the best treatment of my skin that I could think of. I washed it the best that I could. I was doing different prescription skincare. I was doing medical grade skincare, microneedling, chemical peels, you name it. I was trying everything. And finally, it was when I was sitting in there actually getting ready for like another microneedling session. And I was like, I think it's in my gut. And I don't know if I had somehow like read about it on Instagram at one point or what, but it just dawned on me. Like I'm doing everything externally, even taking some prescription medication too. So it's a little bit internal too, but I was like, something has to be happening. And so that is what got me into the journey of functional health. I love to help acne clients, but also just everything, because I found going through this journey, I should say, I learned how everything is just so interconnected.
And that is definitely what we talk about on the podcast a lot. It's like when you have any issue, it often comes down to the gut. Obviously, gut issues, gut,
Mhm.
that's the obvious connection, but it is less obvious when it's things like skin on your face, because that's so far away from your gut, right? So it's hard to make that connection, which is great that you kind of had that epiphany moment of like, I've been doing this for so long and I'm not getting results. Let's think about what else it could be. And you landed on the gut. So could you explain a bit about how the gut influences our skin health?
Yeah. I love this question, and I'm sure you talk about on your podcast just how the gut plays such a role in more than just our digestion, and that is something that's really been enlightening and fun to learn about through all of this. It's just how much of a role it plays on our overall health. But I will say in skin in particular, so one thing is, leaky gut. If our gut lining is permeable, if there's leaks in it, essentially, that is going to essentially leak out into your skin. Bacterial toxins, like, you're going to have more food sensitivities, which that's going to cause more inflammation. And so that is one way that you can end up with acne from, or really even, I say acne, but this can absolutely be in the category of any skin conditions, really, like eczema, rosacea, things like that. So, leaky gut is definitely one way. Another way is just having overgrowths in your gut. It obviously, like, this, but sets off inflammation essentially. Some toxins will produce what we call lipopolysaccharides, and that will, cause more widespread interactions in your body essentially as well. And another really important way is if our gut is not functioning optimally, and a lot of people often have low stomach acid, we're not going to be absorbing our nutrients as well. And some key nutrients for our skin health is vitamin A, omega-3s, zinc, different things like that. And so that's another way that your skin will be impacted from a gut standpoint. And then one other thing that I've seen quite often on, or I should say two more things that I've seen quite often from a gut standpoint with acne clients is the immune health being greatly impacted. I will say majority of clients that I see, and myself as well, our immune health was pretty much tanked as well. I see that a lot, not 100%, but often. And then H. pylori. H. pylori shows up probably in majority of acne clients as well.
Interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
that's good to know
Yeah.
because it's interesting to me that everyone has such different symptoms. Like
Mm.
the majority of us have some sort of gut dysfunction going on just because of the way we live our lives, our food supply. Like it is difficult to avoid
Mhm.
unless you are very intentional and are aware of gut health and you're doing the things you should be doing. However, like for myself, I had severe gut issues develop. Before that, I was tired all the time. I had canker sores all the time. I was getting sick a lot, flu-like symptoms, chronic UTIs, things like that. But I never had poor skin. And
Uh,
that is something that I was very lucky about because I was like, I can't
mhm.
handle another thing, you know? But do you, and maybe you don't, because I honestly don't, but do you have any insight into like why some people develop the skin conditions and others
That's
have
a
other
great
symptoms?
question. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. And
Yeah.
and the first time I did a stool test on myself, there was so much wrong with my microbial balance, but honestly, I really didn't have gut symptoms either. So for me, I mean, I did have constipation, but I never had bloating, I never had like stomach pain, never had, diarrhea, things like that. It was just all my skin. So yeah, it's wild how it shows up so differently for everybody.
It is, yeah. And I don't know the answer either. So I wasn't trying to put you on the spot there. I was just kind of
Yeah.
thinking out loud of like, it must be genes or like what you're more susceptible to, because
Yeah.
if anything, it is just an eye opener of like gut issues does not just mean you're having diarrhea, you're having constipation, you're having stomach pain, bloating. Like it could be so many things. And I know for a lot of people, it is acne. I work with people who have gut issues and acne. And when we start working on gut health, their acne starts to improve as well. For yourself in your own journey, what were kind of some of the steps you took and when you help acne clients to start to improve the gut health so that the acne also improves?
I will say one of the big things is obviously addressing stress. I'm sure you say that a lot. I almost feel like a broken record sometimes talking about that, but you cannot out supplement a stressful lifestyle. So have to kind of manage stress, which will in turn hopefully help your gut some as well. Another thing for acne is blood sugar balance, making sure, you're not having empty carbs, um, making sure you've got, your protein and fiber, because those blood sugar swings are just going to be more stress on your system essentially and can show up on your skin. And then another big one is using hair tissue mineral analysis to look at mineral balance because it can affect your skin somewhat. Sometimes heavy metals, sometimes essentially the mineral balance, sodium and potassium in particular, can definitely show up as skin issues like acne.
That is
Yeah.
good to know as well because
Yeah.
I have not talked about HTMA testing on my podcast yet. We've talked about the GI map quite extensively. I know you do that type of testing in your work
Yes.
as well. We've covered that one. I did a GI map myself over my journey. It's very cool, informative test for sure. But do
Mhm.
you want to talk a little bit more about what HTMA testing is and who could potentially benefit from it?
Yeah. So HTMA testing stands for hair tissue mineral analysis. And I always say, the big minerals that we are going to be looking at, I almost call them the macro minerals, is going to be calcium, magnesium, sodium, potassium, also copper and zinc too. And there's lots of others that we look at, but I like to call them kind of like our big dogs because they kind of help run the show. So minerals never work alone, and you actually have to take in minerals to essentially have minerals. So they're not, your body just doesn't make them on their own, essentially. And the benefit of this hair tissue mineral analysis, so it's through a hair sample, the benefit of this is blood work is always going to be a snapshot in time. And with the hair tissue mineral analysis, it's essentially a view of those minerals over the last 90 days or so, and it gives insight into, are you depleted on these minerals, are you burning through them sometimes, do you have heavy metals at play, and it also can give an insight when you're looking at the ratio of some of these minerals, insight into nervous system, adrenals, thyroid, blood sugar balance, and different things like that. So I really like it to help give a full body picture of kind of what's going on. Sometimes people will say, they don't feel stressed, and then I'll see it's their sodium to magnesium ratio, which is considered the adrenal ratio, and it's like tanked. And I'm like, whoa, your body needs some love here. And then as far as like who can benefit from HTMA, honestly, I feel like everyone. I love it as a starter test. I'll even do it as a standalone sometimes. It's definitely can help a little bit with constipation because sometimes we'll need, like some potassium to help with motility, essentially, to see where you are there. Anyone who's low energy, I say skin problems, but definitely with acne and skin problems, we're going to need to look at a bigger picture. Like HTMA alone is not going to be the only thing, but yeah, it's really interesting to see that. And even a lot of people will be, the magnesium level will look really high, and actually they're burning through it because they're so stressed essentially. And so it's like, okay, how can we kind of help you absorb magnesium, help your stress? We also look at other minerals with it too because they never work alone. So they kind of like power off of each other.
That's a good point. I know
Yeah.
when our bodies are stressed, we utilize B vitamins and magnesium and things like that a lot more quickly. So
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
need to be getting more of that in your diet or potentially supplementing with it if you're in like a really stressful period of time. When you find these deficiencies of minerals using the testing, do you find it's usually due to like stress, due to digestive issues, gut imbalances? Like, do you kind of have a pattern of what's causing these a lot of the time?
I would say majority is stress, some sort of stress. And so that's why I really like it to see how stressed their body really is. There might be some people, and I know, I'll see on their intake form where they're getting really good minerals in. And sometimes it is, if I see their GI map with it, I'm like, I think you're just not absorbing these very well. So there have been a few times where I think that. Um, Majority, I feel like though, is truly stress, which is, It's so easy to get into this stress pattern in this day and age. Everyone's busy and running from one thing to the next, and we all just need a breather and to slow down a lot, I feel like.
We do. And I feel like the hardest advice for people to hear because it's like, well, what the heck do I do with that? Reduce your stress. It's like, I can't quit my job. I can't eliminate my family. I can't
Hmm.
do all the things that are stressing me out or are part of my life, you know? So, I mean, we have talked about it before on the podcast a lot. I always say manage your stress, but I would love to hear your take on what advice you would give to someone who needs to manage their stress or examples of what you do in your own life to keep that
Hmm.
stress down, just to give people some ideas.
I always tell people, it's not like you have to, quit your job. You don't have to have like a 30-minute morning routine. It's all about fitting little bite-sized things in to help make your nervous system feel safe and, essentially kind of feel love a little bit. So, I always talk about this, and I've talked about this on other podcasts that I'm on, but I love going for a walk. That is one of my top recommendations, especially if you are in an office setting. I always say, get that midday walk in, unless it's summer and it's 100 degrees or something, then you have permission to skip that midday walk, I guess, if you if you need to. But just getting out of those fluorescent lights, getting away from all your coworkers, I think it can be so soothing. Another thing is just making sure you get enough sleep at night. So many people are staying up late watching, Netflix or scrolling TikTok on their phone, essentially. Set that time to make sure that you go to bed at a decent time, getting 7 hours of sleep, and then fueling your body. I have been seeing this so often. I don't know how often you see this, but women are coming to me under fueling, not even purposely sometimes. Like they're skipping breakfast or they're not eating enough. And that's a surefire way just to have your body in a stress state all the time, essentially. And then, I do like breath work, either meditation or breath work in the morning. And like I said, you don't have to have a 30-minute routine, but I'll say to my clients that, we're like really busy moms. I'm like, I want 60 seconds of deep belly breaths in the morning just to set the tone for safety. And they're like, okay. So it's kind of about, meeting them where they're at, essentially.
Hey everyone, Carly here. If you are tired of feeling bloated and uncomfortable, which I know you are, I have something that can really help. My free ultimate guide to bloat busting. I've been there myself, and I know how frustrating it is to try super restrictive diets and expensive supplements without getting results. If those methods were going to work, they would have worked by now. That's why I created this guide to offer you a different approach. In the Ultimate Guide to Bloat Busting, you'll learn techniques to listen to your body and eat with intention, avoiding overeating and choosing foods that truly benefit you, tips for proper hydration to support digestion and reduce bloating, a guide to delicious foods that promote a healthy gut and how to easily incorporate them into your meals, and effective methods to manage stress, which plays a huge role in gut health. These simple, practical strategies can make a big difference in your daily life, helping you feel lighter, more energized, and comfortable in your own skin. Ready to ditch the bloat without strict diets or costly supplements? Download your free copy today at beyondbloated.com/ultimate-guide and start your journey to a bloat-free life. Now, let's get back to it. Yeah, for sure. I do a lot of those things too, and those are a lot of things that I recommend. I actually had a group call with my clients yesterday, and we were talking about stress management and finding what works for you. Because, like you said, some people are busy moms and they don't have time to go for 3 walks throughout the day, or
Mhm.
they don't have time to like sit there and meditate or do a yoga class every day. So, that 1 minute of breathing in the morning, maybe before they get out of their bedroom, is a great
Mhm.
thing for them. Whereas
Right.
someone else who works in an office, the walk would be great because, like you said, you're getting outside of that environment. So, those are all really great ideas. And it is
Mhm.
about trialing them and seeing what de stresses you, what do you enjoy, because that's going to make it like sustainable so you can continue
Mhm.
doing it. Because
Right.
repetition is key. You don't go for one walk and then say, why am I still stressed? You need to do these things on
Mhm.
repeat. They need to be integrated into your routine. So make sure you like it and it fits.
I tell my clients a lot, I'm like, these are tools to have in your toolbox. If, I'm recommending something and if you're like, I absolutely hate doing this, well, then let's scratch it and find something that you do love that will be soothing for you.
Yeah, they have to like it. I've tried to
Yeah.
force myself to do things that I hate, and there comes a time when you're like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not
Right.
gonna continue to force myself. It's different if you've never tried it and you don't like the idea of it. I encourage you to give it a go. You might like
Mhm.
it, but if you've tried it, you've tried doing something for a couple weeks and you're like, I hate this. All right, move on, find something else.
Right.
The other thing I wanted to mention was the under eating. I
Mm.
see it every single day, every single day. And honestly, when I started working with clients, it was shocking to me because I have always been a girl who eats quite a
Mhm.
lot. I have a very healthy appetite. I didn't always have a healthy diet,
Mhm.
but I had always ate breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks. Like calories were not an issue for me. So when I started working with other women and seeing how common it was to skip breakfast, work through lunch, maybe have 100 calories, as like a snack, and that's kind of getting them through the day. It's like, whoa, that was crazy eye-opening. And
Mhm.
you're right, like that is a major stressor on the body. And that is a good point that stress doesn't have to be felt mentally. There's the mental stress and there's the physical stress that we put our bodies under that we're not maybe so aware of. As you
Mhm.
mentioned, the people who are saying, I don't feel stressed, but they're very depleted. It's like they're not sleeping, they're not eating enough. There could be other things that their body is feeling, but
Mhm.
mentally they're doing okay. Would you
Yeah.
agree?
Oh my gosh, so much so. Like that is spot on. I didn't realize how common under eating was, truly. Another important thing to mention with the under eating is that's going to affect your hormones. And so, a lot of times women are like, it's my hormones. I need to test my hormones. And if you're only eating 1,200 calories a day, well, that is your problem. Like you need to eat so that your body can actually feel safe enough and fueled enough to make those hormones. I think that is so important.
Yes, and it's a mindset shift for so many of us because as women, realistically, we have been taught eat less, be skinny, look good. That's not the way it works. You
Hmm.
can eat a lot of really healthy whole foods, get a lot of good calories in your diet, and have a healthy body that you are comfortable and confident in. Eating less does not equal less weight or looking better or feeling better. Often, almost always, it is the complete opposite. So I'm
Hmm.
glad we touched on that.
Yeah.
I want to circle back to the acne for a second here because we're talking face to face and your skin looks great. So I
Hmm.
do
Thank
want
you.
to ask, is it simply improving your gut health that improved your skin, or do you have some sort of skincare routine that you stick to that helps?
I would say it's a lot of it. And actually I just redid a GI math on myself because I am having a little bit of acne kind of pop up here and there. So it's getting my minerals in. I love Redmond Relight personally, and so I will drink that once a day. I get lots of potassium in daily too. I have to be very like mindful of it to actually, get the right amount. It is, working on my stress and balancing my blood sugar, all of that stuff as well. And then I've also lowered my toxic load a lot through the years. You learn more and you can't unlearn what you have found. And so, just swapping, products around the house as well. As far as skincare, honestly, I probably don't do as much as some people. I've just gotten very simple with it in the last few years. I always use non-pore clogging ingredients. And so I have like done research on, some of those and looked up different products that are better in that regard. Personally, I use right now a cleanser, just a basic cleanser from Sophie Pavitt, 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 I believe it's spelled. And then really I will use her mandelic acid on in the morning a couple of times a week. And then in the evenings I just I bought a new moisturizer recently. It's from Tower 28. It's also acne safe. All of these are acne safe. And so yeah, at night I just wash my face and use the moisturizer. Oh, I will. Let me back up too, actually. So when I'm wearing makeup, I always double cleanse my face at night. So I always use an oil cleanser first and wipe it off with a warm washcloth. Then I use the Sophie Pavitt cleanser, um, and then the moisturizer. So I keep it simple personally. And I think part of that is I worked so hard on the different skincare items like through the years. And now I think it's skincare fatigue. I'm like, you know what? Like I'm just keeping it simple at this point, and it seems to be doing okay.
I love that. I love that it's simple because of where you started, right? You were doing the
Mhm.
medications and all the treatments and all the recommended products. And I'm sure you had a cupboard full of
Yep.
products that didn't work. And it's like on to the next one, on to the next one. So I
Yeah.
love that you've narrowed it down to a few that are
Mhm.
great. Because I mean, realistically, we need to wash our face, right? Like that's
Right.
gonna be helpful for your skin
Mhm.
health. But if you are doing like a basic skincare routine, like washing and moisturizing and whatnot,
Mhm.
and you're still having crazy acne or, like you mentioned, rosacea or other skin conditions, then it is definitely time to dig a little deeper and see
Mhm.
what's going on inside the gut. I know you work with a lot of clients who struggle with acne because that's your
Mhm.
background. So, can
Mhm.
you tell us a little bit more about where we can find you, connect with you, your practice, all that good stuff?
Yeah. So everything is virtual for myself. I am on Instagram at Laura Grubb Wellness. My website is lauragrubbwellness.com. My DMs are always open. I'm very responsive to anybody that wants to reach out. Also, I do have where you can click on a link and schedule a free call with me as well.
Amazing. Well, I will link all of that in the show notes too, so we can find you, follow you on Instagram. If you want to check out Laura's website or schedule a call with her, I would encourage you to do that. I always say it every episode. I love practitioners who have been through it themselves.
Mm.
I like it when the person I'm working with can relate to me, where I'm at, my journey. If I was struggling with acne, I'd want to know the person I was working with had struggled with acne and now is not, because that proves to me you know what you're doing and you can
Mhm.
truly help me. So if that sounds like you, check out Laura, and thank you so much for joining us today and sharing all of your knowledge with us.
Yeah. Thank you for having me, Carly.
Did you learn something new and useful today? If the answer is a big, resounding hell yeah, do me a favor. Subscribe to this podcast. Even better, toss a rating in there too. It helps more bloated babes discover this show and lets me keep bringing you this free, gut loving content every single week. And hey, don't be greedy. Share this episode with your bestie who's always unbuttoning her pants after dinner. She will love you even more for it. Thanks for hanging out with me and showing your gut some love. Keep on putting what you learn into practice, and you will be bloat free in no time. Catch you in the next one. Bye.